Dan and I work with some of the most currently and historically oppressed peoples in this country. The facts prove it out. In this case, and I guess just to back up, I've been in some difficult situations with very, very heated protests, sometimes standoffs, and I've never been spoken to in that tone that Minister Freeland was spoken to. Despite the fact that these are people with legitimate beefs with the government of Canada who has actively suppressed their language and committed unspeakable tragedies to their peoples, I've always been welcomed respectfully and been able to have an honest and open discussion about what the way forward is for our country. And when you talk to survivors, people who have suffered these unspeakable tragedies, there's hope. There is a fierceness in their advocacy. There is rarely that type of rhetoric and misunderstanding of the facts, ever. And that is something I think we need. It makes you take a pause and think about not only misinformation, but people actually deliberately using disinformation to peddle a narrative that really is, I believe, imported from a fringe faction in the South, but something that we need to address in a more, we can always do better as a government in addressing how we deal with hate and bigotry. But I want to be clear, Minister Freeland as a person has no business having to put up with that garbage. And in some sense, even though it's an attack on her physical integrity, and there's a lot to be said about the fact that she is a woman, and this is also perpetrated on people that are racialized. This is also about the integrity of the office that she holds, which is in some sense attack on an institution of democracy. And it's with that lens that we have to look at this. The government is usually singularly ineffective at making culture shifts in this country. In a short-term way, it takes a lot more. It takes the media, it takes an informed media, well-funded and supported media to do that. It also takes civil society and education of even our youngest, as the elders were mentioning, in order to really have a critical mind about some of the garbage that's being peddled, because it is dangerous. It has gotten worse in the last little while, and I think in some sense we are at odds still as how to tackle it properly.